I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by my co-host with Harrison Bader like hair.
Yeah, it's a weird ordeal. Katie is just proving to be childish.
Which is why I don't feel I would give $5 million to Jack Campbell.
I don't know. Baseball is one of those sports where anyone who makes the playoffs really can be a contender.
I think the Padres definitely do it.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell gets traded.
Kyrie Irving does have the track record of not being a great locker room fit, or even good locker room fit.
Bader got some luscious locks. I gotta say it.
This is Zach Bigley, the broadcaster for the Frisco Rough Riders, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin. You guys better subscribe.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. Again, our second straight week of reviewing a wide receiver trade, and I'm a little bit surprised. There were rumors about Cooper Kupp, but we have the Chiefs trading for DeAndre Hopkins. And the man that I'm curious how he feels about DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs, Austin.
Well, I'm sure he'll have more yards than he had last week, Kevin. I mean, last week, DeAndre Hopkins had -2 receiving yards. People were talking about Kupp. I don't know if that even makes sense because of the money. The Kupp's getting paid a lot, and the Chiefs do not have that much in cap space. I don't know how that's going to work. But discussing this, the Chiefs, offense-wise, they're points for, they're 13th. They're about average in points for. Kareem Hunt has been a revelation, Kevin. It's rushing at 4 yards an attempt, which is good. He has 3 rushing touchdowns in 3 games. He's averaging 83 yards per game. And I do like this move, especially because they did lose Rashee Rice almost certainly for the season. They have Kelsey, but Kelsey's only had 40 yards a game, which is almost nothing. Xavier Worthy at 33, Noah Gray at 30.8, and Juju's obviously been dealing with some injuries as well. It's definitely a great move. The one thing I do wonder is how fast they can kind of incorporate him, because he's not how do I explain it? He's not like a Michael Thomas where you can just throw like a lot of short routes to him and just get a lot of yards. When I think it, even though DHop's been a short routage guy a little bit when he was in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury, he didn't really excel those last 2 years in the Cliff Kingsbury offense. I don't think it's I mean, if you look at like the last 2 years, I mean, especially the year he ended up getting hurt, I think when he played 10 games, 57 yards per game is good, but it's not great. He's more of a deep threat, would you say?
Yeah, and this is a move. They do need help at wide receiver. Their offense hasn't played well. It doesn't look great, but it's done the job. And they've just relied on their defense. Mahomes hasn't looked incredible. You can tell they're missing a wide receiver. My concern about this is when I think of DHop, I don't really see him fitting into the system. I see him more as a deep threat, as you're talking about, but more of a stationary guy. I don't think he has that yards after catch. That's something to me Rice excelled at and was getting even better at in his second year.
And Rice is also that short yardage guy.
Yeah.
So I think they'll use Kelsey kind of as that shorter receiving option, and then deep threat instead of like it being Justin Watson, who's okay. They'll do a DHop. The only thing, again, because of how teams are playing Mahomes now with the 2 high safeties, and they're kind of making just a shell of something else, it kind of makes it to where they are capped at the top. So we'll have to see whether or not they can kind of incorporate him into the offense as well. But I do think it is a good trade for them. They're only giving up a fifth. At most can be a fourth. It probably will be a fourth, I think, from what the criteria are. But even then, that's fine. And because they are so depleted in the wide receiver department.
Yeah, it's really, I think he's still a very good wide receiver. He's not what he was, but it is a better threat than Justin Watson, as you were talking about. I would say even McCole Hardman. And this just buys time for Xavier Worthy, who I think learning to fit in the offense and learning just to be a wide receiver. But defenses aren't going to take Xavier Worthy seriously. They're going to just double up Kelsey, which I think is why he is so low. I do think there's a combination of age as well. Kelsey is getting older. And so the offense just isn't what it was. Kareem Hunt has been great, as you talked about. They are missing Pacheco. So I do think this frees up Andy Reid from having to be so perfect with play calling and free up Mahomes for having to be perfect, which he hasn't been perfect. He's thrown a lot of picks compared. I believe he has 6 picks. Or
he's at 8.
He's at 8. Yeah.
6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah. So I don't think this is going to be a high-powered offense. This is just what we thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year before all the injuries, I'm like, oh, this could be a high-powered offense. To me, this is just going to be get the job done offense. Can we get a drive when we need to? Because the thing pushing the Chiefs right now is their defense. Wouldn't you agree?
And I think they're rushing. Like I said, Kareem Hunt's averaging 83 yards per game in the 3 games that he's played.
Yeah.
I don't know how Hunt is doing it. I mean, he wasn't even on a team. But, I mean, last week against San Francisco, he had 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 receptions for 5 yards. He's played extremely, extremely well. Again, 3 touchdowns in 3 games, 83 yards per game rushing, but also 12 yards per game receiving. So he's about 100 yards per game at the moment, just total offense. And I don't think anyone expected him to be that good whenever he came back to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's a great point. It was already a rushing offense with Pacheco, and they've been able to keep that up with the return of Kareem Hunt, signing him off just a free agent market. So I am very interested to see what we see from Hopkins because this was his 2nd year in Tennessee.
Or
is it even his
3rd? Yes.
Second? Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's weird. So I'm very interested to see what happens. I don't think the Chiefs make another move for wide receiver or another weapon.
I don't think they can afford Cup. Again, I don't know how the cap space would really work. I think you'd have to trade away too many pieces that are extremely important to the team right now than to make that work.
And I don't know if Cup would be a great route runner, but you mentioned the money. And yeah, to me, it would be like more a low-level guy. I would have loved Amari Cooper in this offense, but that didn't work out. So that is all I have. We'll have to see what happens. We'll see. They are still undefeated, which is pretty incredible when we talk about the problems with offense. Passing-wise, you mentioned the rushing. But that is all I got. I'll let you take this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know what you guys think about the trade. Does the DHop trade make the offense much better? Will this kind of unlock Mahomes, or would it kind of be the same? Thank you again.